the hood, champion boxing is sports. And boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Big fight coming up. If they can sort out all the specifics, probably around June in London between Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. Now, people, you gotta do your research and understand the history. There's a reason why Clarissa Shields is super animated, super frustrated with Savannah Marshall. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't understand why she was so bothered by Savannah Marshall. I noticed she was a bit more out of character than she normally is. Savannah Marshall didn't seem to be saying anything disrespectful about Shields or going out of her way to get under her skin. But Shields was really, really, annoyed just at Savannah Marshall's presence. So I saw them in a couple face-off and them going back and forth, kind of verbally jousting with each other. And I said, let me try to do some research to understand why Clarissa Shields gets so agitated when this woman is in her presence. So if you didn't know, the reason why Clarissa Shields is so frustrated with her is because Savannah Marshall defeated Clarissa Shields in the amateurs. And Clarissa Shields feels that Savannah Marshall is always talking about, well, I'm the one who defeated Clarissa Shields. Clarissa Shields was 17 years old at the time, but I clipped her. I beat her. And now that Clarissa Shields has gone on to do amazing things in the amateurs, but as a pro, unifying divisions and stuff. Absolutely amazing what Clarissa Shields has done. Savannah Marshall makes sure, now that she has Clarissa Shields, who's seen as the face of women's boxing, Savannah Marshall's making sure to remind the public that, yep, she may be the face of women's boxing, but she's nobody till she faces me because I beat her as an amateur. And that gets people talking like, well, who the hell is Savannah Marshall? And when they do their research, then they see, oh, wow, okay, that's who this young lady is. She beat Clarissa Shields, so maybe that's a fight we need to see happen. Maybe she's the one who can come out and defeat Clarissa Shields as a professional, because nobody else has come close. Now, when you look at it, you got to understand there's something special about Clarissa Shields. We all know that, but there's something special about Savannah Marshall. I mean, when you have 12 fights, 10 by KO, doesn't matter if you're fighting tomato cans, but when you're knocking people out, that means there's something special about your hands. That means you just naturally God-gifted with heavy hands to knock somebody out. Now, Clarissa Shields is God-gifted with her athleticism, with her speed, her combination punching. She's not really heavy-handed. She's the kind of person that just kind of, beats you down and beats you up and, forces the ref to stop the fight or make the girl quit. But Clarissa Shields, in her 12 wins, only has 2 KOs. The rest are by decision. But that's her style, boxing. And what I think is going to happen going forward is Clarissa Shields may give Savannah Marshall a good chance on winning this fight if Clarissa Shields fights with emotion and fights like she has to prove something to show that what happened in the amateurs was a fluke. I'm the better fighter, and I'm going to come and I'm going to knock her out. According to Clarissa Shields, her plan is to knock Savannah Marshall out by round 8. Now, one thing when you're fighting a puncher. Puncher always has a puncher's chance up until the very last second of the last round. You don't want Clarissa Shields going in there trying to prove a point to somebody. Clarissa Shields can be sweeping every round. I mean, just totally, raking this girl across the coals every round, and get comfortable for 1 second, and get clipped badly by Savannah Marshall. And that's what you don't want to happen. But that's something I could definitely see happening, because Clarissa Shields really wants to make a statement and clip Savannah Marshall. But she's going to have to be very careful. Got to be careful going out there trying to get a KO against a puncher. That'd be like someone like a Chris Bird, right? Remember when Chris Bird fought Ika Ibeabuchi? He went in there, he was outboxing him, and he was looking spectacular. And he just got himself up against the ropes and, a little too long. He had great defense, his head movement and everything. And Ibeabuchi let one of them shots go. Uppercut. Almost killed Chris Bird. And that is what happens when you're fighting with punchers. You can't afford to have a lapse in your focus. You can't afford that because one mistake can cost you and cost you dearly. Now, the other thing that's we need to really pay attention to here is, Shields and her training with MMA. Now, some people may say that's a disadvantage because she starts to learn, different techniques and fighting. But that has nothing to do with her hand-to-hand exchanges. And Clarissa, when she went over to the MMA world, she took her boxing with her. And she learned some other stuff she had to. But she didn't go over there and decide she was going to do spinning back fist and hammer fist and Superman punches. She didn't do that. So when I hear that argument about, that can, take away from her as a boxer, I don't think so. She went over there and she took her boxing with her and she worked on her ground game and she worked on a few other things. So I don't think that's going to make a difference in this fight at all. Clarissa Shields is probably, on paper, the more skilled boxer of the two, but on paper, Savannah Marshall is the more powerful puncher. And, you just have to be fair. You have to be fair in this. So Savannah Marshall has a really good chance. Clarissa Shields is boxing, all over, women from all over the world. But one thing that Clarissa Shields said that made a lot of sense is Savannah Marshall did beat me in the amateurs, but I beat 5 or 6 girls who beat her up. So what is that saying? Well, that tells me that, neither one of them really have a valid argument, except I would say Savannah Marshall, because she did beat Clarissa Shields. And Shields did beat people who beat Savannah Marshall, but the thing is, styles make fights. And maybe the style that Marshall had in the amateurs was just the type of style to beat Shields at the time. But Shields is no longer an amateur fighter. She's not 17, and she has a wealth of experience. And same thing with Marshall. But I guess we'll find out if they fight in June, which it looks like that's the plan. We'll find out just who is the superior overall boxer and who's going to actually come out victorious. And to be honest with you, at this moment, I can't really predict. And the reason I can't is because we're talking about Savannah Marshall, who's 12 wins, 10 by KO. In her last fight, she knocked the girl out cold. But she just looks a little bit slower. She looks like her feet are heavier. And but she likes, if she seems to be the kind of boxer, if she catches up with you and she gets you against the ropes, she's going to let her hands go and she can hurt you. And that's what Clarissa Shields can't afford to do. Have her hands down, have her face sticking out, her chin up, and trying to showboat and slip punches and all of that. I just think that's a recipe for disaster with someone who can hit the way Savannah Marshall can. But, hey, it is what it is, man. More to come on these two. I think Clarissa Shields and this young lady right here, Savannah Marshall, is probably one of the better matchups that Shields has been in quite some time. I think she's going to box and look great, but she has a moment where she gets clipped and she's going to have to tie up Savannah Marshall to kind of, regain her faculties and figure out what the next step is going to be in that ring, because she cannot afford to let her guard down and get caught. But when you look at it on paper, Shields should win. When you look at the amateur pedigree, you got to favor Shields in this. But when you look at somebody who's a knockout puncher like Savannah Marshall, you have to give them a chance. So I can't see the odds opening up with Clarissa Shields just being this really ridiculous betting favorite. I can't see that. But I don't know. More to come on these two. That being said, if you like and subscribe. If you like the video, man, please subscribe to the channel. Shout out to all the veterans. More to come as always. And y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.